Consider the last official weekend of summer for many, but it's also a busy time for first responders. Joining us live is Chris Sheldrick. He is the co-founder and CEO of an app called What 3 Words. Good afternoon. Thanks so much for joining us again.
Hi, Cara.
So just start us off a little bit by telling us what 3 words, what it is, and how exactly it works.
Sure. So, What Three Words is an app. We've divided the whole world into 10-foot by 10-foot squares, and we've named each one with a unique sequence of 3 words from the dictionary. So, something as easy as table, chair, spoon. The next one might be custard, curtains, scissors, and whatever, so on and so on, for the whole world. And it means that if you don't know where you are, and you need to communicate your location to someone, you can just look in the app and it will tell you the 3 words that correspond to your exact location. So, where I live on a farm, our address is not known by the mapping apps, and it means I can tell people where I am. So, for any use really where addresses don't work, what 3 words with those 3 simple words can communicate a location very, very simply.
And so, with that in mind, if people are doing things like maybe going out and hiking for those summertime activities, or if they're out on a boat in the water or something like that, that can be very useful in emergency situations where emergency responders are trying to locate you quickly to save a life. Talk to us a little bit about what states have incorporated this app into their emergency services and the benefit of that.
Yeah, so I mean, we now have 49 states in the US who've integrated What Three Words into their emergency response, which is amazing. We're integrated with Rhode Island 911 services. And it means that if somebody's out there and they call 911, they're not quite sure where they are. Maybe they're in a big park, a big forest, even on the water. By relaying those 3 words, reading them off to the 911 call operator, they can then send the responders to that exact 10-foot square instead of having this situation where you get lost in a huge area, but you just can't explain where you are. And this happens day in and day out. We're used across the US now increasingly for emergency response situations. And I know that the responders find it invaluable in getting help to people. You know, if there's a heart attack or something very time sensitive, they can get help incredibly quickly to where it needs to be.
Quickly, are there any recent examples of this in use that you could share with us?
Yeah, I mean, just this month in Nashville, there was an elderly hiker who was lost in the woods. They called 911. They used What Three Words, and they were able to find them very, very quickly. And it was a very critical situation. Virginia, Richmond fire crews, they were using us recently. They got a call from a man who'd fallen down a 40-foot manhole. And of course, in that situation, you need to get there as quickly as possible. I mean, these are just two, but I mean, this is now happening on a daily basis across the US. The key thing really is for people to have the What Three Words app downloaded on your phone if it's all possible, because the app can also work offline if you haven't got any bars of coverage. But even if you haven't, some states are able to by sending an SMS to help you use What Three Words anyway. So I'd encourage people to explore the app and get to grips with it.
Lastly, before we let you go, why is this weekend so important for us to keep the app words, what 3 words in mind?
Well, I think on any public holiday weekend, it's one of those times where I think people tend to go off the beaten track. They seem to do something different. Maybe they're taking the family and going out somewhere. And it's just when you're going into uncharted territory, places you don't know. I would say it's especially useful to have something like What Three Words, because it's when people generally get into difficulty. And so I would say for Labor Day weekend, why not have the What Three Words app on your phone? Get used to it, discuss it with your friends and family, and then you are prepared whatever eventuality comes your way.
And that is definitely something wonderful, very useful for first responders. As you heard from Chris there, if you go ahead and download it now, you can even incorporate it into like a fun game of maybe hide and seek before you need it for a situation that could potentially be dire. Chris, thanks again for joining us. We'll put this interview on our website later on. That's going to be abc6.com for you, Chris, and for our viewing audience.